Hi everyone, and welcome to Number Forms, where we are going to talk about how we can write numbers in different ways. And you may think, well, why do I need to know how to write them in different ways other than our traditional form that we see numbers? And it's for many reasons. One is so that you're understanding your place value. It could also be to help you write a check when you're an adult, or maybe perhaps if you're a kid and you're going to write a check. And we need to know standard forms so we can distinguish between all of them. So make sure you title your paper in number forms. You should have this foldable already printed out, but if you don't, you just take a paper, fold it in half, leave a little bit of space at the end so you can fold it over for a title and to make sure you don't bend your Flappy foldable, and cut it into thirds on the left-hand side of the paper so that when you open it up, you can write your information in. Our first tab is titled Standard Form. And let's remember to put your date and number. And standard form is the typical way that we usually see our numbers. So standard form would be like the value, let's say 7, 9, 2, 341, let's try that. So standard form is just the way that it represents with digits. So the digits in each place value line up, and that's standard form. So standard form is typical way of viewing numbers. So I have digits representing in each place value. And that is standard form. So this is just an example up here of how you would write in standard form. So I'm separating each of those 3 digits with a comma because I have place value that I need to make sure I know which digit goes with which place value. So I know if I have 3 digits, then I'm moving on to a different period. So for example, this is the ones period, thousands period, millions period, and then I could do billions period, and so on and so forth. So that's standard form. Now word form is essentially you just write it how you read it. So I like to say, write it how you read it. So it's pretty simple. So I'm going to open up my standard form again. This is my example. So draw a line so I don't get confused here. My standard form here is 792341291. And they're just digits in each place value. So when I do word form, I'm going to write out the word version of the value. So it's really important that you remember to stay in your periods. Remember ones, thousands, millions. So when I look at this, I know that after I complete each set of 3 digits, I have a comma, and that comma is separating a period, so that is where I will say what period I'm in. For example, this number, I would read it like 792,341,291. So at the end of the ones place value, I don't say 1, 1, but all of the others where I have my comma separates those 3 digits, that is where I will read the place values, or the period that is ending with that place value. So for this number, I would write it just how I read it for my example, and I would say 792, I'm at that comma now, so I write million, then a comma, million, 300, now since I have 42 here, I'm sorry, 41, I need to put a dash, 41 And that comma tells me that I just ended the thousands period, so I'm going to make sure I say that as I write it how I read it. 341,000, comma. And this is a 2 in the hundreds place, so I'm going to say 291. Notice that when I write this out, I don't say ones period when it's over, but I do for the others. I said thousands here, I said millions here. So I also noticed that in my tens and my ones are connected. So if I look at the 1 millions, it's a 2. If I look at the 10 millions, it's a 9. So when I group those, I say 92 and I put a hyphen between them. If I have 41,000, it's 40 hyphen 1,000. 291, when I say those together, so it's 91. So now we've got that word form, write it how you read it. I'm going to use the same value as I did up here, but I'm going to use expanded form. So for expanded form at the very bottom, that one is just breaking it apart with place value. Breaking apart with place value. So an example for that might include, I'm going to use the same value, 792,341,291. So there are a couple different ways that you might see this in 5th grade. So your first is that you separate out the digit from the place value, and you multiply the digit from the place value. So this is a digit 7, this is a digit 9, this is a digit 2. But these digits together, including their place value, is 792 million. So that's how I know the difference when I'm writing this out. I'm just going to separate the digit from its place value and multiply it by that factor of the place value. For example, I have the digit 7, and I separated that from my value that's up here. And that 7 digit is in the 100 millions place value. So I'm going to make sure I write out my place value as 100 millions. So if I multiplied 7 times 100 million, I would get 700 million. And then I close my parenthesis, and I'm going to add the next value. Well, the next digit is a 9, and it's in the tens millions place value. So that digit 9, if I multiply it by 10 million, it would be 2 factors like this. And then I do another addition sign after I close my parentheses, and I look at the next digit. Well, it's the next digit is a 2. So if I have a 2 there, that 2 is in the 1 millions place value. So I need to write down my place value, separate it out with my digit, and as factors. Then add my next place value. So I have a digit 3 in the 100,000s. So I have 3 times 100,000, which would result in 300,000, plus my next digit of 4, which is in the 10,000s. So I need to make sure I write that down as a factor. So every time I separate my digit from the place value and use them as factors. The next one's 1, and it's in the thousands place value. And then I'm moving into the next period, the ones period, and I have a digit 2. Well, that digit 2 is a factor times 100. It's place value. I have my addition sign after I close my parentheses. My next digit is 9, and that digit is in the tens place, so I would multiply it by 10 to receive the value of 90, which is what it represents. And then last but not least, I have a 1 digit in the ones place value. So that's an example of expanded form. And that's typically how you will see it in 5th grade. Now, I know when you were in 4th grade, you probably saw it just not separated by its place value. So this is our 5th grade version. In fourth grade, you might have seen it like this. It's not separating the digit from the place value. It's just rewriting it with each place value. So 700 million plus 90 million plus 2 million plus 300,000 plus 40,000 plus 1,000 plus 200 plus 90 plus 1. So this is our fourth grade version. And our fifth grade version separates the digit from the place value and uses them as factors. So that's really the only big difference between the two. And that's it for number forms.